Welcome in to episode 7 of our Let's Play Humankind series featuring the Commons Quarter that I have dubbed Commonly Uncommon. We are executing a Commons Quarter strategy here at Humankind difficulty in the game Humankind, doing a little 4X strategy gaming. We're in episode 7 on turn 45. We have just in the last episode moved up into the classical era. We made a, to me, rather shocking decision to choose the Goths instead of the Romans as part of our Commons Quarters strategy. Both of those particular cultures have Commons Quarters as their emblematic districts, but both will take us down a very different path. And we chose the Goths, and so today we will continue to progress that path as the Goths and see how the game continues to transpire. If you've missed out on any of our past episodes, you could go to the link in the description below and check out our very first episode of this series and catch up on all the episodes leading up to this moment in the game as we play into the classical era. Here we are, of course, in our capital city of Ashur. And I actually have done some considerable thinking about this game over the past week between recording episodes. And I am going to make a couple of strategy changes based on thoughts that I've had. And we'll see if these changes end up paying off in the end or not. The very first thing that I need to remember to do before we hit the end turn button is we need to switch all of our cities back to a science focus. We want to be pushing science really hard, getting our sciences researched as quickly as possible so that we can continue to progress through techs in the era and make sure we maintain a tech advantage. We're also a little bit behind on units. We need to get our units upgraded in order to wage some of the fights that we want to against the free people. So we're going to make these switches. This is going to hurt our gold per turn by a substantial amount. We may see us actually drop back down into kind of the negatives or close to negatives. So there we're going to move all of our people back over to science to push science in Assur, and we'll go over to our other city of Nineveh, and we're going to do the same thing. And very quickly you'll see we're down to, we'll get 16, all right? So it's plus 16 money per turn still, so we're still working money in an okay way. And really quickly, I'm just going to check some of these things. We still have some artisans' quarters to put in, and these are in fact science artisans' quarters, and so we do want to put those in. However, my other really big strategy change that I want to make, that I decided on is at the end of the last episode or throughout the last episode, in our land over here that ended up getting surrounded by peaceful free people's claims, and don't forget, there is an aggressive free people wandering around up here somewhere that actually assassinated 3 of my scouts that were highly veteran status, and they're gone now. They got wiped out by the chariots, chased down after retreat and massacred, and it was not great. But then we had these 2 free people settle around the place we were gonna put a city into. So here's my conundrum was, well, that's 3 cities all right next to each other. And I thought, well, maybe we'll just take these 2 cities and make these our 2 cities. I still think that would be a viable plan. However, we have 532 influence right now. And I know we were thinking about claiming a wonder. We have 2 turns before we have another wonder claim available, but we're making 178 influence per turn right now. That is a lot. I do not think we're struggling for influence. What I think would push us further along the lines of winning this game, and we're already doing quite well, is having that 3rd city in. And I think that the idea in my mind was we'll let this city form right here, and then we'll take it over. But remember, they have unit advantage on us, and it will take us multiple turns just to get over to this location. Once we do that, and we take over a city, we're effectively committing to taking over this other city as well, because our influence cost is going to go up a lot. The more cities we have, the more influence it costs to put in cities. So we really want to kind of buy in our 3rd city with our own influence and then maybe go take over a city. And I'm actually even thinking we might want to just burn down both of these and just put our own attachments in. And one of the primary reasons for that is I was thinking about the fact that we're playing the Assyrians and the Goths, and we talked about how those two cultures really blend into each other quite nicely from a strategy perspective and from their affinity abilities, from their affinity traits. Now, the problem with attacking the cities is we would not be ransacking them. We would just be attacking them and taking them over. Now, if we were to jump in with our armies and pillage and ransack everywhere we went, and then just burn down the cities and reclaim them as our own territories with any of the districts built in them already, if we did not already have ransacked them, we actually would be gaining quite a bit of opportunity. Number one, we're going to get our additional combat strength when we're ransacking. So if those fights take place, if we're in a ransack state with our army, we're going to get that +5 bonus from the Assyrians. We're also going to get that 100% ransack gains on army. So our gains will be 100% what they normally would be when we are ransacking. So we kind of want to be ransacking, let alone that we are now playing the Goths as well. And we get 10% ransack bounty gained as science per units on army. I am relatively certain that these combo together. So your 10% ransack bonus gained as science is already going to have the 100% increase from the Assyrians that is then going to get translated over into science per unit on army. I'm not sure what those numbers will look like, but I'm interested in seeing what those numbers will look like. So we actually really don't want to attack cities to capture them. We want to attack cities to burn them down, to ransack them, because that is the benefit that we are going to get. So we want to be doing the pillage ability as much as we can to be able to gain our bonuses from the Assyrians and our bonuses from the Goths. And I want to see if those actually play really well together, because I think we may have found kind of a pretty cool combination here. That being said, if we decide to just burn these down, we're going to be able to play into that much more. Moreover, I really do think that the turns that we would have to wait to capture this city and turn it into our third city would be a large detriment towards our empire growth. Because essentially what we're going to do, yeah, we're going to claim a wonder. Yeah, we're going to claim some territories and do some things. We'll be spending our influence still. There's always things to spend your influence on all the way through like the mid game in Humankind. But if we don't get that third city in, we don't start getting those buildings in, we start get prepping for those attachments, we just have a kind of sincere lack of ability to do things. And whereas if we get that third city in and we start getting buildings in, we start getting districts in, we start accruing population in that city, more so than you would otherwise, all of a sudden you have a third city that's up and running, arguably probably 10 to 15 turns sooner than you would if I wait until this becomes a city and we attack it. Our army is still, several turns away. It's at least 3 or 4 turns away. Plus, we have to upgrade them when we get there, and I don't think we have the money to do that, so we'll be waiting for some upgrades. So we're also waiting on some techs, because some of our techs have not gotten there for upgrades. So I really think that we're sitting on a difference of either turning this into a city immediately and getting the bonuses of that, or we'd be waiting 10 to 15 turns to get our third city in, and right now that's an advantage we have. We've been a city ahead of our opponents, at least on our continent, for the duration of the game. They have recently caught up to us by putting in their own couple of cities over here. So if we want to maintain our lead in cities, which creates your lead in quite a few other categories as well, then we kind of need to put our city in now. And so those were the kind of the thoughts that I had. Combination of those things has convinced me. What we're going to do right now is we're going to buy our city into our cap prior. We're going to put our city down, and then what we'll do is we will just pillage and burn every free peoples that we find on this side of the map. That being said, we do indeed want them to form cities so that we can pillage and burn anything they choose to put in those cities, and we're basically just going to go pillaging on free peoples, right? If we had chosen the Romans, we would be declaring war on probably Burley, because he's the one that we have kind of it's still a friendly relationship, but it's tenuous. And we would have been going to war with Burley and basically doing a very similar thing, but because we're playing the Romans, we want that victorious city and all the stuff we talked about in the last episode. As the Goths, I think it really lends itself better to just attacking free people, since we have good relationships with our neighbors currently, because Burley has been doing some kind of sus things over there, so we'll keep an eye on that as we go. But for the decisions that I've made in this game, we're going to take our Victoria Falls city of Arcab Prior, and we're going to make a city out of it. Slightly risky because there is that aggressive Free Peoples up here somewhere, but at least if we have a city, maybe with some population, although there's no population in this city currently, we'll be able to do that. Unfortunately, this city will not have any of the infrastructures in it, right? If we look at the tech tree, you don't actually get the first technology to have infrastructures put in until the next era. This colony model over here becomes a really important tech for you before you put in any cities. And we may even wait, particularly if we find the New World, we'll definitely wait until we've researched feudalism in order to put a city in on the New World. Claims, obviously, we'll be putting on the New World if we find it. And in fact, that is exactly why we're researching trade expeditions right now. But we could kind of just put the city in whenever in order to do that. Now, when we put this city in, we will also be over our city cap, and it will decrease our influence per turn. So we'll want to deal with that in a couple of different ways. On the next turn, we should be able to put in leadership and enact small council to get our +1 city cap. There's also different technologies that will get us there very shortly up to our city cap. So we're going to be over it for like a turn here probably, unless we can enact both, but I don't think so because this costs 510. We're going to be left with like 20, so there's not going to be enough influence to put that in. So next turn, we'll spend our influence on things like enacting that civic to bring our city cap back to the right number. And then also I want to buy in some more of our luxury resources. So let's evolve our city. There we go. Scania. Wow, Scania. I'm just gonna call it Gothis, maybe. Or maybe we'll just call it Gotham, because that seems cool. One of the things that I've noticed about this game, just Humankind in general, you know that I love the way the game looks, right? You can hear the waterfall. Obviously, ambiance is great. You can see how the city centers change based on what culture you were when you formed them. So you can see the Gothic city center forms kind of a walled circle around already. The like houses are kind of built into the wall. Super cool. If you go back over to any of our other cities with our city centers, you will see that they are drastically different, more in the kind of pyramid-ish style of the Assyrians and their kind of build style with lots of brick and stone and stuff like that. So it's just really fascinating the way that those change as you go through the game. And so it's always nice to get a city center settled that looks like the one that you have. And there are ways actually to update that. I believe there's in fact, if we go to this city, you can probably see, you can do this action here, the administrative center renovation. And so you can spend a turn of build. It costs 1 production, which is not bad. So you don't actually really waste a whole turn because all your production gets backlogged, right? And so all that production will just go into the next thing you click on. But you do have to spend a turn putting in the administrative center. So you can't always renovate one of your city centers to your current culture, which is pretty cool if you're planning on kind of going for some aesthetic looks or something like that, right? So let's go back here up to our city. And we are very quickly going to work towards our pottery barns, our pottery workshop. Because that's just going to be our best bet here to start to make this city viable and useful. We want that +4 influence per turn. We want to keep pushing influence as much as possible. We have a ton of food and all kinds of stuff here, so we don't have to worry about that because there was no population in the city to start with, right? So we'll put in the pottery workshop first, and then we'll start working on things like getting our tumuluses in and all of those types of things because we want those in as well. We have this, so I'm tempted now. We have our scouts. We could attempt to just go burn this down right now, but I kind of want them to form a city. So we're just going to sit. We're just going to keep sitting right there. So we've got this in. We have our people switch to science. We spent down all of our influence, and we're making 21 gold per turn. We've got our science queued up so we can get in the water, and we're ready to move into the next turn. Now, I am curious as to what is potentially going to happen. Burley is amassing quite a force here. I'm hoping that that's to deal with plosive. But I don't know. I mean, we still have a friendly relationship and way more war support with both of these folks. They're at peace right now. We have some trade that we can make as well, and some grievances here. We don't have any grievances here, and we're actually in an alliance, a pretty successful alliance as well here. We also want to try to get our embassy in, so there's a lot of build things that we need to do. 2 turns left on Hanging Gardens. Let's end turn. We'll kind of move in that direction. We could have put our other city on Hanging Gardens as well, I guess, and tried to finish it earlier, but we'll focus on getting the stuff in that we want. Lots of movement. around here now, as the Free Peoples are becoming a problem for both Burley and for Plosif at this point. And Plosif has made the northern claim as well. So Plosif keeping his land relatively connected outside of his random city settle on the coast, and Burley also kind of doing the same thing, but both of them choosing to settle close to the Free Peoples, the aggressive Free Peoples, mind you, and not push into kind of open land, which is really interesting. Population gains for us, and we have a resource sold. Keep our armies moving in the directions that we want them to move. And now we have some exploration to do. We are in the water. Our Pentacounters have crossed into some islands, and we will start to see just exactly where we're going to end up. We're going to probably approach the south of the map, and there is another player. Pink, whoever Pink is down here, which means the New World is probably not in this direction. I mean, it could still be. It could still be. But my bet is the other continent runs out in this direction. So we could have a northern New World. More than likely, our New World is going to be up and over here somewhere, would be kind of my assumption. But we'll find out here shortly as we try to get in the water. And we'll be able to hopefully meet some of these new cultures as we go. Our other boat is headed up here. That's going to be a tricky journey. I don't know if he's going to make it that way. In fact, he very well may not. This is all ocean. And so I don't think we can get up here. We're going to have to rely on our units to do that scouting for us, it looks like, which is kind of a bummer. I think this guy probably needs to do is let's hop to here into this reef, and we'll do like a 4 in, 4 out kind of situation and just kind of start to get an idea of how far things are. Look at the fish down here. Look how cool this is. You see the schools of fish and the birds as well. The bigger... You got bigger fish every once in a while, too. Oh, man. And they kind of disappear as they go. Such a gorgeous game. Oh, man. Look at the seabirds kind of flying around. I absolutely love it. Look at them there. You can see they're almost kind of following the schools of fish, which is, like, hyper-realistic, right? Like, oh, man. So cool. That is cool. Love it. Okay. I'll try not to get super caught up in that. So this unit now that was going to go down here, we might still, right? We might still want to even put a claim in on these islands. There's no resources here, so I'm not like, I don't have to have that claim, but I mean, it might be nice from a expansionist capability. So we'll keep trying to work them into the water as we can cross them over right here, and try, actually, you know what? The best cross place is here. I don't even know if, wait, these guys' movement in the water is going to be what? It's going to be 2, which means they can't cross here. They actually need to come down here and cross here. That's gonna be a restricting factor for us as we try to get into some of these spaces. So these guys actually need to come to this spot right here. All right, these guys also need to come up here then. So we're about to have the technology to get them there. Don't move them too far just in case we see a curiosity. Perfect. Okay. And we'll get them over here, and maybe they'll be able to do some of our exploration in the water. Again, note, we still have not seen any curiosities in the water, which I'm a little bit intrigued by. This guy on the very next turn is also going to be jumping over into the water. So he's just going to sit for now, because he's going to pop right onto that spot there. Here is the Free People's Army. Again, it still overpowers me because they have swordsmen. The spearmen I'm not too worried about, but the swordsmen are definitely a better unit than we have with our warriors. Now, we do have deer right here, so we could run this attack. And I think we just instant resolve that. Yeah. We'll take the deer. The deer get us 10 gold, which is not really anything. But we get some extra veterancy on these units, so when we turn them into horsemen, they're going to end up being quite potent. So that's perfectly fine to me. This envoy has a lot of potential work to do. We'll get him over here and try to get him to collect some of these. We would love to have more leverage, and obviously that progresses us towards our diplomat stars as well. So we'll just have that guy doing that. Our army, on the other hand, needs to head into our newest city of Goth, and we'll be headed in that direction. I think we're going to take the northern route, if I'm not wrong. And actually, kind of want to almost do a little exploration while we're at it, right? There's possibility for... We'll go this way, I think, on our way up. Just to see if there's any curiosities to pick up, and then obviously we need to do a little bit of upgrading over here. At least our warrior needs to become a swordsman. We don't have We don't have an archer upgrade yet, so that's nice. I actually didn't think about that. Our raiders won't have an upgrade. Our warrior will. We want to upgrade the warrior, and then our archers will not have an upgrade as of yet, because crossbows are not for quite some time, actually. In fact, I'm not even sure they're in this era, right? Yeah, they're not till the next era. So archers stay viable. So we actually don't have that much to upgrade. Really, the big thing for us is going to be getting to mounted warfare so that we can upgrade our scouts into horsemen, and so that we get access to our Gothic cavalry, which are a unit that pack a punch, right? 29 attack on the Gothic cavalry as compared to the 26 that the swordsmen get. Plus, you get the bonus of having heavy cav charge capabilities and things like that. So we definitely want all of those things with our Gothic cavalry. I want to check I want to know what these Syrian raiders, I think they're just cavalry, right? So essentially, like, the idea of them being like a light cavalry unit or just a cav, not a heavy cav unit. But so basically they're super fast, right? That's kind of their shtick. All right, these guys are just exploring. They have minimal, I believe they have kind of minimal veterancy gains. They have some. So if we find animals to fight, we can try to push them. We could also go and disband these guys maybe into our other city. I don't want to over disband though, because we're about to get those horseman upgrades, and man, we could be flying with those horseman upgrades. And actually, come to think of it, oh man, part of me says all these scouts we're about to put in the water, if we could upgrade them to horsemen before we send them out, it will make them much more powerful. But I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to get onto the New World if we can find it and put a claim in. We can always upgrade them in the New World using kind of the claim, right? Now, these guys have to be careful because there was aggressive free peoples up here. So we're kind of going to poke around pretty slowly. I even might want to put them on this river instead of that river, just to keep a river between me and the possibility of getting attacked again, because we might lose people if we do that, right? So we have influence to spend now. We also are losing some influence for being over city cap. So I'm gonna really quickly jump in. We're gonna take this, push us into the +4 influence on emblematic district range. We're gonna lose a little stability because of that. It's gonna cost us quite a bit, but it's going to end up getting us more influence because right now, we're not losing a ton. So if you go up here, you can see we're losing -10 from city cap. You know what? That's almost not worth it. I think I've changed my mind. I don't think I need to put that in. Although, the +4 on emblematic might be the reason to do it, right? So we're losing 10 per turn from city cap, which is not a ton, but it is an amount that is not 0. And if we put leadership in, we go from +2 influence on emblematic to +4. So we're effectively gaining, what, 12 influence per turn if we do this? Costs us 136. That's quite a few turns to eventually get that back. It's probably not worth it to spend that right now. Because I'm trying to think of how many, I mean, you could do the math, but I'm trying to think of how many turns that would take. I mean, that's, if it costs you that much and you're gaining 12 influence per turn, to get that 100 and whatever influence back, 130 or whatever, like you're staring down like what, 15 turns probably to make that influence back. Whereas eventually we could just do this tech and get our city cap up that way. So I think I'm gonna leave it, to be honest. I was gonna do that, but I think now I am actually not going to. And actually, what we do kind of need to do is make a claim somewhere near our new city to get a second expansion in. This land is really, really beautiful here. We also want to make a claim up here so we can get another claim up in this area for a second city as well. So the question is, should we grab, I think we should grab this piece of territory right here. I feel like that would be a good grab. So I think we'll take this unit. Or even our army could just make that claim as we swing through. That's probably what we'll do. So these guys could stay. Our army, on their next move, will go into this territory. We will claim it. It's because it's gorgeous land. We'll claim it and we'll attach it into this city pretty quickly. So that will be a move with part of our influence. So that's going to cost us... It won't cost us this much. Do I have anyone in an adjacent territory? Oh, let's see. Yeah, these guys right here. What would this cost? 141. So it should cost us 141. So we just want to, so we have enough influence on any given basis to do that. So what I think I want to do is go around and I'm just going to put in all of our artisans quarters, right? We've got our harbors in. So let's get these in, because we're going to start pushing science pretty heavily, right? +5 science and stability, so we're going to fix any stability problems we might have. I'm just going to start plopping these guys in. It is expensive, but I think that's going to pay off in the long run. And I know we want to save up for a wonder as well. So we'll just go through each of our outposts and make sure we have those in. Do we need copper right now? I'm not going to put the copper in. We don't need it yet. We need iron more than copper, to be honest. Let's get our papyrus in. Also, if you'll notice, it costs us 1,000 now. Our cost is essentially more than doubled from our 510 to 1,060. Again, we're making influence pretty fast, so that's not like a huge problem necessarily, but you want to pay attention to that. Oh, they have 2. Perfect. And pottery workshop, this is all good. Our cities are all fine. We're working hanging gardens. We're going to have a bunch of excess. We're going to have a bunch of excess because we're very close to having this built. So we're going to have a bunch of excess industry on a next turn to make a quick build. And then I think that gets basically everything done. I also spent all of our influence, so we're being at least moderately efficient in that way as well with that. So, let me check treaties really quick.
Greetings. To what do I owe this pleasure?
Can't make any treaties currently. We don't need to forgive any grievances.
Tell me about yourself.
And we'll just keep an eye on what, the burly man is doing with his armies. A couple move-ups. An agrarian star earned for us. Our trade expeditions have been researched, so we can now get in on the water. And we
the
have
Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Worth a cooling visit during a hot summer, regardless of what city they are built in.
That's true. And I welcome anyone to come and visit my city. You can see the Hanging Gardens. Where did I place them? Right here. Right there. Beautiful. Beautiful. We have kind of a desert-esque culture running here, kind of, just because of where we're at. So the Hanging Gardens provides a nice, lush oasis for us, which is nice. All right. Unknown. This symbol means Icarus. Icarus has gone from the Carolins to the Huns. So multiple Huns have now been chosen on the other side. Gaiden, I believe it was, that went to the Huns. And now Icarus also going to the Huns. And Seamoose going from the Mycenaeans to the Huns. And so I don't know what's going on in this other continent right now, but we're going to find out soon. 3 of the 4 AI players that are on the other continent have moved up and chosen the Huns. 2 of them went Mycenaeans to Huns specifically. So you're talking about multiple kind of militarist-oriented cultures, and things are dicey on the other continent. My continent is very peaceful. We've got 2 Axumites. They want to trade. They're merchants, and so far no war. There's no way. The other continent has to be in a state of complete war. With 3 Huns being chosen, they're clearly playing off of the fact that each of them wants war, which is a little bit wild. Oh my goodness. All right. Our boat is ready to... I believe this pink would mean probably Canadian moose. I think we're going to move in this direction, maybe?
Understood.
No, we can move this way. Is going to be our better bet for meeting them. And in fact, we have some ice starting to form as we approach the southern part
So now
of
we
the
have the
continent.
Huns as neighbors.
All right.
Raiders on horseback. It's going to be a challenge to put up with them.
Well, they have to cross the water to get to us, Look at that. Look at Sea Moose there. This territory now has access to ambergris, and so we will want to make a claim here at this point, right? So putting a claim in here would not be a bad idea for us because it would give us access to another luxury. It would also push us so that we have easy access through here and can kind of guard our potential border if we need to enforce borders at some point. So let's jump into the water when we can. That'll be on our next turn. We'll get those guys in the water. Probably come... I don't know if we're going to make that. We want to claim here and then here and probably attach, but we have influence to spend, so maybe not. Oh, there we go. Here's what we're looking for. 50 influence and 40 science on that. That is enormous. And then we'll probably just bring him back along the coast looking for things, because we can't get him up here for quite some time until we upgrade him, essentially. So I want to think about that. We're going to get this guy up in the water. Yeah, probably from this tile is fine. Quickly kind of noticing that I'm not seeing any escape points here. That could be very frustrating if we can't get away, and it really looks like It looks like up here there's not going to be any cross points for us over here, but we'll explore it and then probably send this guy up here a little bit to explore, just because we won't be able to do it with anybody else, and then bring him back to maybe start making some claims or something like that. But eventually we'll want to upgrade them to horsemen. But that's unfortunate that it doesn't look like there's going to be a spot for them to kind of transfer. All right, let's keep collecting all of these. And I'm doing this manually because this guy apparently has just not been... It's not been doing the right stuff, at least. Like, he hasn't been picking up curiosities the way... Or, sorry, leverage the way that I want him to. Okay, this guy gets in the water, and again, I don't know. It doesn't look clean over here, and we're going to have to get open borders with Burley in order to figure out if we can do that. So we're about to find out, though. We'll jump in here and start doing some pokes to see if we can get to the New World. All right, they're over here now. Their city has still not formed. Neither has that one. Neither has this one. Any more claims coming in? No more claims from any of our AI neighbors. So this group can kind of just sit here for now. This group is exploring, but we're exploring very cautiously, as I recall. Again, if we get on this river, we put ourselves into a possible predicament, but there's a lair that we never burnt down, so I believe there's still a bear over here somewhere. So we'll be exploring that. And then we're going to put this claim in. Now, the question is, where are we putting this claim? It doesn't really matter. If we get in here, it'll be close. Somewhere down here is really awesome. But up here is going to get us access to more. It's either going to be in here or in here. So this gets us a 719. This is a 623, though. It's a 723, and that's a 4 river tile, so that one's pretty dang nice. And then if we come down here, we have a 623 again, but it's going to be difficult to get any districts built off of that. 724, so slightly better if we go here. That we just go with this spot right here. That seems like the spot. There's also options up here if we wanted to balance things out a little bit, go with like a 1014 or something, but I think this is plenty. 723 is really good, and then we can escape out from there. And eventually we can just put a hamlet down here to get kind of the claims started in this direction. So let's set these guys to do that on the next turn. We'll have them put this outpost down, and then we'll make that attachment pretty quickly, which will get Goth up and running, hopefully as quickly as possible. So that will go in on the next turn. Our cities are ready to build things now, and we have the ability to build more holy sites. So we want to be cautious about what religion is doing. And we're pushing religion still pretty well, although Burley's religion is starting to encroach on us over here, which is not particularly surprising. They are the Axumites, and so they are probably putting in their districts. If we put our districts in, we should be able to recover from that. But we want to pay attention to whether or not we want to get these obelisks online faster. We also need to get an embassy down, and we potentially want to claim another wonder as we're going here. So let's save our influence this go-round, because we're going to want influence to claim a wonder. Let's do a quick check. Pyramids we knew were gone, Stonehenge we know was gone, and Lighthouse we knew were gone. So no claims have come in. We kind of want to go for Stables and Pyramid. Pyramid probably first. We need 450 influence to claim our next wonder. And a pyramid would be really nice because it does also count as a holy site and generates quite a bit of faith. So we would definitely ensure our faith is being spread if we were to claim pyramids. Pyramid of the Sun. Pyramid of the Sun also is a big food generator. So I'd like that as well. And I think we just put it in our capital. Honestly, just make our capital like kind of a super city. I think it helps from a spreading of faith standpoint too. I don't really understand faith spread in this game anymore. I thought I did for a little while, but honestly, I'm not even sure I do at this point. So I think what we should do is probably throw in some districts, like maybe a few of our tumuluses is probably what we should be doing here. But we also have the opportunity to start working on all these infrastructures. We have a ton of infrastructures that aren't in yet. And in fact, these guys are sitting at a 55% stability, which is not my favorite. And so if we were to start putting tumuluses in, although we don't get any reduction when we put a tumulus in, which is kind of nice because it's a commons quarter. So that actually might be a better, yeah, it's better to put in than the public fountain. Because the public fountain gets us plus 15 stability, which would increase our stability. But if we're not decreasing our stability, we could just put tumuluses in and play off of that, right? So I think we should just start putting our tumulus down. We'll just get a bunch of those in because they have big influence gains. The more influence we have right now, the better. And then it will also keep our faith pushed pretty high. The other option would be to go to either our embassy or an obelisk. But if we're going to go Pyramid of the Sun, we don't have to get this obelisk in right away. Embassy would be nice because of the agreements we could start making. The thing is, right, the cities are sitting really nicely. Like 34 food, they are growing next turn. So like food will become a problem here in a little bit. So but we can always just come down here and throw in a quick, you know, +8, +24 food. We grow a lot faster if we throw this in at 24. Let's get a tumulus down and then we'll kind of make a call on kind of the next thing that we want to do. Now we want this tumulus effectively to be surrounded by districts, but also we kind of want it to be opposite of like not adjacent to our Danu, but one off of our Danu. So actually this spot right here is very appealing for a tumulus. It's already adjacent to a farmer's quarter, and we're gonna stack quarters around this Danu as well because it's also a commons quarter. So here's where our commons quarter strategy is gonna start coming into play. We need to make sure we place our commons quarters apart from each other by just the right amount to kind of optimize getting districts that are around both of them so that we don't have to like overplace districts, because we don't want to have to overplace districts just to make our commons quarters good. So I think we put it right here. I think this is the spot because we're going to put districts here as well. Also, the tumulus is not free place, right? Our Danus were conveniently free place, so we can put them away from our cities, which actually it turns out is going to be very important to us. We really want now to be able to stick things in between the Danus and the other spots that we're going to be working towards. So I think that we're going to stick it right here. It's going to cost us a couple of food. We'll put our tumulus right there on the river, and then it will be able to have at least 2 districts that are going to be adjacent to both our Danus and our tumulus, and so that will get the bonuses of being next to both, which is nice. So we'll do that in that city. We're finishing up our Maker's Quarter, I believe, here, which I do want to get done, right? We want to get this done. Ashura's been working on this Maker's Quarter for quite some time. And then I think our capital probably will just transition into making our embassy. Or actually, they need food, so our capital, we probably should just set them on food right away. Here's a 34 food, so that's kind of an obvious next step in our capital, so I think we'll just do that. 17 industry as well, which is really big. So I think we'll put a couple infrastructures in after this Maker's Quarter, although we'll probably debate putting that embassy down at some point. But let's make sure we're optimizing getting some of those infrastructures in, because they're very powerful. As you can see, those numbers are pretty huge. I still think we go straight to mounted warfare. It's tempting to go into philosophy and try to push that a little bit. But I think our best bet here, well, we could also get access to artificial reservoirs, which would be huge. But let's go to mounted warfare. We can get there pretty quickly. We want to get access to our unique unit for the different things that we are kind of looking to do. All right, let's chat with Canadian Moose.
Short-tempered, passionate, all the highest compliments. As long as we are honest and fair, we can do mighty things.
It actually describes Cebu's pretty well. All right, so hesitant, and we can kind of get to know a little bit. So, a bunch of resources. So lots of trade opportunities, including 12 incense. Holy smokes. 12 incense, and Cebu's must just be running in money. So we want access to basically all of this. We basically could purchase all of this from him. By buying this incense, we'd be getting enough money probably to make back what we'd be making. Plus, we definitely want this sage. Luxury trade would be fantastic if you accept. That is awesome. We love that for us. And now we're immediately just going to start trading, essentially, right? So this incense,
I am
we should be able to just buy it all. I think, right? So we go up to 36 maintenance per trade route, but our gold per turn is going to increase by 5 on all cities. We have 3 cities, so we're going to get that effect, which is really nice. So plus the cumulative effect as well, right? So I'm pretty sure we're going to make more money than we're going to spend here, but I guess we'll find out here shortly. So I'm just going to buy it all. For 300 gold. That's a lot, but I'm just going to purchase all of it, and we're going to find out. So we're supposed to be going down by 36 gold because of this maintenance cost. How much more money are we going to make per turn by purchasing it? We're about to find out. So 29 to 36, so we should be in the negatives, but instead, we are up by 138 gold per turn. So, and again, that's partially because there's 12 of it, but that's one thing to pay attention to. If you are trading with someone a resource that gets you gold, you really don't have to think about the cost of the maintenance of that trade route, because the trade route will pay for itself. Even if there's only one, often it will even pay for itself in that way. So just be aware that you might be hesitant on a trade route because of its cost per turn, but if it's for gold, for money, usually it's got to be worth it. We're going to do the same thing with all of these. We're going to pay another 30 gold for this. It says this will actually increase our maintenance, right? So that's fine. We just made a bunch, though. The pearls cost a bunch, but again, +2 money on traders. Like, let's see how big our money goes up here. We're at 110. No, down to 70. So not a big bonus on the traders. In fact, we went down by a ton right there buying the pearls. So that will be worth it over time. And honestly, I'm just kind of keen on buying all of these. So we're gonna go right back down to right where we were. Even after we bought that and we're up by a ton of gold. We probably should have sat on that gold for a few turns, because that plus 100 some odd gold would have buffed our coffers by a substantial amount. We're basically paying all of that in maintenance now for all the trade routes we just created. So that I partially regret that decision, because I feel like we could have buffed our money up really high just to get like money in our bank, maybe purchase a couple of key things. So maybe the wrong decision there. I'm not sure. But we have a good trade relationship with Seamoose now. We can see the other continent down here. I am relatively certain this continent is the continent where all of the other players are. It looks like it ends over here, and so it probably extends out in this way, which I guess that means the New World could be out over here somewhere. Probably means the New World is out over here, which is maybe why the computer is hard settling the coast over here. We've got some access over there, so we're, I guess, about to find out about that. So let's end turn, and we'll kind of crank through a few more here for this episode. Standing armies research, so we can now upgrade our warrior units into swordsmen, which is big. And we now have madness. Common madness. Spreading. No, we actually can't enter this, right? We'd have to declare war, because we don't have that kind of relationship as of yet. We kind of have to go this way, which is fine. Keep our boat in the water if we can. This guy was going to do some poke reconnaissance. Ah, good. We can get across. Okay, perfect. Not that we can get to with our units, because it's too far away, right? 1, 2, 1. Ooh, man, actually, that's really close. We have to see. Can I turn on hex lines? 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, we'd be one off. We would be one off, which is unfortunate. But we get this boat out and exploring, so that's good. He'll have something to do. And this guy now gets to jump in the water, and he'll do some poke out into this area to see if we can get them out into a space that's useful. This guy is also about to do the same thing. I'm not sure. This is a massive ocean tile. And so I'm not sure, like this is not going to have an island in it or anything like that. So these pokes are probably, it would probably have to be up here to do anything possible. Although right here, actually, see the 2 lines here? This might be where there's an island of some sort possibly that we could get to. So I say this because when you see a really big territory that's in the ocean, usually what that means is that it's a large ocean tile, like it's just ocean out there. If you see something a bit smaller, there's possibility that it's something a little bit different possibly, right? So you'll notice like down here, again, down here, you see something a little smaller. This is a little bit smaller, so you might find something in here somewhere, but there's some big ones up here that are kind of questionable. So we'll sail this guy. I'm going to put him out here. We're going to sail him this way, just so we get like an idea, although we can't see anything into that fog, so it's not really helping us very much. We could start poking a little bit, but they're now defending their land. This group of 3 is kind of just sitting here now, but we are waiting to upgrade them, so we kind of want them sitting here for a little while longer as we plan on spending some gold in upgrades. Let's go ahead and move them over here. They've got bears they're dealing with as well. Fascinating. Okay, we didn't quite make it. I don't think we collected that last piece of influence. Or sorry, of leverage. So I guess we go auto-explore again. We'll go auto-explore again here. Actually, you know what? Let's check really quick, because sometimes when I offer treaties,
honestly,
then grievances will show up. Open borders would actually be nice with Burley at this point. He also is needy now, so that's nice. I wonder if we could just, snag an alliance. Let's try.
I
No, he declined.
refuse your proposal.
Okay. So he declined, which is fine. That's fine.
I
We don't
see.
mind. We could definitely pick up the
If I cannot
leverage
teach you
from that.
wisdom,
Joseph,
It's
what's up?
good to see you. No lie.
When did I refuse an osmosis? Last turn? We had an osmosis pop up that I didn't... Look, I didn't know that. Okay, we can't make any deals here. Alright, so we'll just put this guy on auto explore. Let him do his thing. These guys are gonna go burn this lair down, I guess? We're gonna see how we're gonna get science from that? 13 science that we're gonna snag from this. 69 gold and 13 science. That is because we are playing the Assyrians into the Goths, right? The gold is up by 100%, and that science is probably as well up by 100%. So you can imagine as we get to ransacking some of these free people's cities, we're gonna have a pretty decent little pillage economy going on, which is not something I've ever done in this game before. And there is the aggressive free peoples making the far north settle. And honestly, that works really well for me. I have no problem with this. That's another free peoples we can go to war with, get more military kills, get more pillaging done, and we'll just burn it down, right? I mean, honestly, like that maybe at that point that becomes a city for us, depending on how big it is. If we don't feel like getting it in, or we don't feel like spending influence on it, so definitely something that we can consider at that point. Burn these two down. Maybe that's a city we actually take. So a lot of free peoples on our land now, which we kind of figured was going to happen eventually. There's a lot of land on this continent for just the 3 players. But we're kind of spreading out pretty nicely. I don't mind where we're at. All right, pottery barns are in Gothiscanza, and we are currently working where we want to work. We're going to be balanced policy. That's fine because I do want my next person to go into industry before we flip back over to food. So we'll stick there for just a moment. We'd find some value here, but we almost need to be able to build stuff faster, which we are going to get in one turn when we make this attachment, which is only going to cost us a little bit. But I think we need to start building districts here. I think it would be nice to get our tumuluses in. Unfortunately, we don't have a great spot for our tumulus in this city because we put this a little too close, right? And we actually can't connect off of it. So our best tumulus spot is actually directly adjacent to it, which is not the best spot. You probably want your tumulus here or here. Probably here is a much better spot for the tumulus because it at least has, again, multiple connection points that we can get to being able to have this, that commons quarter benefiting off of both. So what that effectively tells me is we should put a district right here, right now. So let's build a district here so that we can build to here and get the bonus of having it next to 2 commons quarters. That's probably going to be, my assumption would be a farmer's quarter, although, yeah, it's definitely going to be a farmer's quarter. But I think we go with a food quarter. We're going to want a farmer's quarter anyway, just to get the extra worker and stuff like that eventually. So I think we go with this. So we'll put a farmer's quarter down, and then we'll put the tumulus in Gothiscanza. And again, they're gonna be able to build much faster once they put this once they run that attachment. All right, Nineveh is done building their first tumulus, so we can take a look at our unique emblematic district. It looks quite nice. You can see that it's like basically a hill with stones around it, and then it goes into kind of I think it's meant to be a place to honor ancestors, right? I believe what tumulus is. So very cool looking building. I really like the look of it. That's going to be very nice. Okay. We can jump into another tumulus here. We're building stuff in one turn in this city with a tumulus because we have a little surplus, which is kind of nice. Or at 32 food, we could also put our flood irrigation in here. And I think keeping our growth ridiculously high seems nice, although we are approaching population cap, but we also need more armies. In fact, in 3 turns, when we research our unique unit, we're going to be training out some unique units, in which case we kind of want to be able to push that. Really tempting to throw in. I think we do it. I think we'll go flood irrigation here first so that we can keep our food really high and keep our population growth moving in as quickly as we can, essentially. I think that's probably a good play. We have 300 influence now. We are saving up for our next wonder, so we're going to wait, because we'll get next turn, we'll have enough to buy our next wonder. So we're going to wait on that and be able to do that. We also have flood irrigation coming in our capital, so we've got that going for us as well. So let's
To harness the power of water
turn.
itself in order to
All right,
feed
we
your
got enough
people.
to claim a wonder. We'll be able to
That
do that
should
on
make
this
you
turn.
popular.
And we have met Icarus. We have met... Oh, no. Nox... No, sorry. We didn't meet any of them. They all just gained renown as merchants. So maybe they're actually not at war on the other continent? Maybe they're all
So,
hanging out?
tell me. shall we
Simus wants a
become
non-aggression
closer?
pact. I can counter for 280 gold, but a non-aggression pact is
There
fine. I
is.
will accept the
Your
non-aggression pact.
proposal makes good sense. I say yes.
We're already trading fully with him. We definitely don't want that relationship to sour because we spent a lot of money on that, right? All right, this guy needs to get in here. There is, I believe, guided. And so now we have some idea. Roraima. I may have just been the first to discover Roraima. And actually, it's unclaimed currently. So it looks like, if I'm correct, this continent will stretch this entire length all the way up to the north. Which means the New World has to be on this half of this continent, is my assumption. Because this should all be one continent based on how we set the map up. So that should be approximately correct. Let's jump this guy over here. Making this claim is going to be questionable. We actually have to move to this spot anyway and then just hold before we can cross, right? This guy's going to go to here, and we're going to make a little poke and see. Yeah, it's good. You could see a border right here. There's possibility. If we poke here and then this is shallow, there's possibility to get over there. That would be kind of fascinating. I don't really know what that would be. Okay, we don't really seeing anything here. We're going to make this move. Again, we're not really seeing much, but I do think that down here is our best bet for, like, popping out and trying to see what's going on over here. We'll kind of stick with that plan. This army is going to prep to be upgraded. We can also kind of start to move them around a little bit. I guess we could just have them hang, though. Let's just have them hang out, because we do want to upgrade them. These guys made the burn, which is nice, and then we'll just have them continue in this direction. We want to pop up here and see... Ooh. Man, they're going to be entering aggressive Free People's lands. These guys might die. We're making stupidly aggressive moves with these poor gentlemen. We'll get them, like, out to here on the next turn, like, as fast as we can. Try to, like, get them away from the aggressive Free Peoples, but I don't know. Alright, this army is prepared to upgrade their warriors, which we want to do. Let's move them in this direction first. And we want this to become a city before we really do anything over here. So let's just get them into Goth Scania. We'll upgrade our warrior. We have a nice bank of money to upgrade all of our scouts, which is something we're going to need, right? We want money to upgrade our scouts into those horsemen. Well, let's get these guys upgraded. Our pretty decent looking army. We've got the warriors at 26. We've got a 21 in our horsemen, and then our archers 17 is they're just plain good because they can shoot from wherever. And then we want to run this attachment right away. Let's check here if we can put anything in. We can't. No iron. I would have liked to have seen iron somewhere. Actually, we need to check to see if we have iron, because that will wreck some of our plans. Let's run this attachment. There's an expansionist star. Continue to push our fame up, and now we have a nice connection, and we've made a nice start here for Goth Scania, and you can see the city itself expanding very rapidly. And we're actually going to switch now to our expert policy. We'll split this guy over here, because I like to keep second worker always in industry. It's just kind of my mode of operation. We'll get this farmer's quarter in now in 2 turns. You can see how quickly we can get a city up and running once we make that attachment into like a high quality attachment into your city. It's very meaningful. Of herds and heirlooms. All right, so we have a family by a river disputing some cattle. Interesting. So we get to choose how stuff is distributed. We can overlook. We're not going to do that because it pushes us towards the faith side of that continuum. We can distribute, but actually brings us back away from the gold that we are currently making. Or we can go with privilege, and it actually pushes us towards the axis. Now, here's the question that you now have to have, right? Is on your ideologies. Do you go for the plus 10% money, or do you go for the plus 10% industry? Our industry is pretty dang high, and we're already pushed over here pretty far. My inclination is now that we're over here, maybe we just keep going over here. So maybe we just continue to move towards towards individualism instead of towards collectivism, just because we find ourselves kind of in that scenario. So honestly, there's nothing that happens outside of movement on this particular event. You only move on these axes. So I'm gonna choose privilege. We're gonna move closer to that individualism one and towards additional gold for our empire. Probably the industry side of that is usually where most people will trend, but we'll go ahead and run with that. All right, let's try to do one more turn. Oh, wait, maybe not. So we do need to pick our wonder. Okay, has any other wonder been claimed? The statue of Zeus has been claimed by Icarus. Icarus may be looking for some alliances to push that. And Temple of Artemis has now also been claimed. Temple of Artemis also a really good one. So Stable's still available. Pyramid of the Sun still available. Colosseum, Rhodes, Lady Mare Zion, and Maz. Maz's +2 influence and +2 science per district is really nice. It's a nice little science boost. But Pyramid of the Sun is just too good, I think. It's got the food per adjacent farmers' quarter, so you want to surround it with farmers' quarters. So that's where you want to kind of place it, as somewhere where you're going to build a bunch of farmers' quarters around it. But you also get the bottom one there that says +2 food on territories, districts, and exploitations. So all of your exploitations in a particular city is also going to get +2 food in addition to all the districts. But Pyramid of the Sun is a very, very, very nice wonder. So we'll go ahead and claim it. It's too good to pass up, I think, at this point. And that, I think, will actually probably leave us where we want to be for this episode. I would have liked to have pushed to another turn, but I think this is going to be it. So we will have to debate if we're going to put that wonder in, or I think we might want to get our embassy down first and then put Pyramid of the Sun in. Pyramid of the Sun counts as a holy site, so we don't need to put a holy site down until we probably have Pyramid of the Sun in. I think that Pyramid of the Sun is going to go in our capital city again, so I think we stack wonders in our capital city for now, especially since it's a holy site. And then our other holy site can probably go in this city to help with stability issues, right? I think we're doing well stability-wise here, but for whatever reason, Nineveh is struggling on a stability standpoint, just because I think they don't have kind of the stuff that the capital does as far as just builds. I don't know why Goth Scania would not be having the same approximate problems. That kind of confuses me a little bit. We can compare the numbers, I guess. But probably put Pyramid of the Sun in the capital, and then our other holy site will go into Nineveh, because even Nineveh, though, doesn't have a lot of trade going out of it. So it's hard to justify. Once we attach some of these in, it will have some trade coming through it. So we'll have to put some thought into that. Again, the thought being is that trade is a primary spreader of religion, and so if you have resources that are being traded for in a particular region, that will assist you. If you have high faith coming out of that region as well, it will assist you in pushing your religion. But none of that is confirmed, because I struggled to figure out what that actually means. Burley's religion is definitely pushing. So Burley has gotten some pretty good pressure coming in here now, although we do have pressure going in that direction as well. So we'll definitely want to increase our religion as we go, but I think we're set up well to do that. I mean, we've set ourselves up well to do that, especially now by taking Pyramid of the Sun. I think we'll have the benefit of an extra holy site from a wonder, plus our tumuluses are going to be generating a lot of faith as well as we get them down, which we'll start to do here shortly. So I like where we sit. We've got friends on our continent. We are pushing science at a very quick pace so far. Because we have our Hanging Gardens of Babylon in, we have really large numbers, because it's on our ebony here. We've got really large numbers of production cranking out of our cities. So I think we're sitting pretty well right now. We got our third city in, and we're preparing to make some aggressive moves on some free peoples once their cities come in. So we'll see how all of that plays out. We also need to think about starting to make some more claims, because as we know, when we waited to make claims last time, we ended up in a little bit of trouble there. So we won't wait too long on claims as well as we get into the next few episodes. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate it. If you like the content, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and that you are followed on the content, follow the channel and subscribe, and that you have notifications turned on so you know when we release these videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.